Welcome to Chewing the Fat with Steve. Today we're going to talk about handshakes, hugs, and handwritten notes. Handshakes are incredible. They have always been an important part of my life. My grandfather Max taught me how to shake hands. If you were going to shake Grandpa's hand, you had to shake it firm enough to where it wasn't a wet fish. If I just kind of lazily stuck my hand out to shake his, he would say, "Oh, you're giving me a wet fish." He demanded a firm handshake. The best handshaker I ever knew was our friend Joe. Joe was a retired lieutenant colonel from the United States Army, and when I shook Joe's hand, whether it was when I was 12 years old, when Joe and his wife Pat started to get together with my family, or 5 years ago toward the end of Joe's life, he had a firm handshake that didn't hurt, and he looked me right in the eye. I always felt like somebody when Joe shook my hand. And then there's the hugs, the second casualty of COVID-19. And I miss the hug so much. There are people that every time I see them, I hug them. And I know that when we come out to the other end of this COVID-19 and we start getting together again, the first thing we're going to do is hug. I also think that there's people out there that I never used to hug, or they never used to hug me, but I think we're going to be so glad to see each other that the first time we see each other, there's going to be a hug. I'm looking forward to that, the other end of COVID-19. Now, there's actually something, though, that went away that has come back since we've been sheltered in place, and that's a handwritten note. The last time I called on a customer, the last time I walked into a customer's office was in March as we got into the shelter in place. I had to figure out some way to keep in contact with the customers. I would send emails, I would make phone calls, but I also made it a point to send about 4 or 5 handwritten notes every week. And I'd mail them out, and hopefully they got to the person I was sending them to. It was kind of hard because I think some people were working at home, but I'd send them out and just have faith that the person I was sending it to was getting them. Well, I was writing my notes today, and as I was writing my notes, my phone rang, and it was from Mary, who's a nurse at one of the doctor's offices that I call on. Mary called me up just to tell me how much she appreciated the note I sent to her the other day. And she said, "I know you can't come into the office, but we still think about you, and we're happy you're thinking about us, and when the time is right, we can't wait to see you." You know what? I think the next time I go into Mary's office, I think there's going to be a hug. The handwritten note. If you've been writing handwritten notes all along, I suggest you keep doing them. And if you kind of stopped over the years, I encourage you to start writing them again. Because a handwritten note is the quickest way to find that shining needle of common ground in that scary haystack.